Nate was a really good guy. I mean, I've known him for a while, but I never really got to hang out with him. But when we did, we had some really good times. We were supposed to go shoot some tannerite, and we were also supposed to shoot a B-50 BMG. I was really gonna have some fun, but unfortunately the other guy wasn't able to make it. But yeah, Nate was a really good guy. Miss him a lot, and love you, brother.
Hey, I just want to say how great Nate was. He's very quiet, but he always has a special place in my heart, and we'll forever miss you, Nate. All is good. Love you guys.
I want to share the story that Nate always told about the first time he ever met me. Would have been like 1993 or 1992 when I was like 3 or 4 years old. He'd obviously been friends with Uncle Rick, Robert, and everybody. And apparently we all had a big like family barbecue, and there was this dog running around. And again, mind you, I'm like 3. And apparently I was fascinated by the fact that this dog had nipples. And I was just like, oh my God, this dog's got nipples. And Nate thought it was so hilarious. And every time we'd end up drinking, he'd bring it up every once in a while. He'd be like, you were just fascinated by the fact this dog had nipples and you were pointing it out to everybody the entire time. He's like, and that was the first time I met you. I was like, sweet. And then we were friends for another 31 years. So.
Hi, Melissa. So remember the first time I met you? You and Nate were living in my house. I came back from Iraq, and remember about 11 o'clock at night, I just walk into your house and like, Nate, there's a stranger staring at me. Who is this guy? And Nate comes in and is like, yeah, that's the guy who owns the house. That's Robin. Remember that? So, I don't know. Nate's always been there for me since day one. You know, I gave him the keys to my house. That's where I met you. And you guys been part of my life ever since. So, best wishes and love you guys.
So, Nate was really quiet when he was around us. He didn't really like to talk too much, except when he came down to California to visit. And we went to the Northwoods Inn, and he was super impressed with the cheese bread, and he couldn't stop talking about it, and the cheese butter on the baked potato. Then we had dinner at our house another night, and he found out that Dave is into weird music like Nate, and he just started talking up a storm, and him and Dave became little friends. And that's our story about Nate. Other than that, he was always quiet and didn't have much to say. Man of few words.
And he tried to get me drunk.
He tried to get you drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He would always, like, once he got in the mood, he would start talking a lot. Like, after a few drinks and we're camping, he's
talking he was about... talkative.
Yeah.
That's Nate, in a nutshell.
So, I'm Barbara Jo Charters. This is my husband, Richard. We first met Nate, well, he kind of grew up with our family, with our boys. In fact, he even lived in our basement for some time. But the funniest thing that ever happened was he went on a cruise with us, with our family one time. And at the end of the family, at the cruise, we're in a big circled table, and I said, okay, everybody tell me, what was your favorite part about the cruise? And Nate looked at us and he said, the bag of pop. And I'm going, what the heck is a bag of pop? We were in Honduras. No. Yeah, Roatan. And he said, as we were off the ship and they were walking around, he and our son Rick had walked across the dirt road to a little shack to get some soda, some orange soda, pop. And the lady grabbed a bottle of soda, popped it open, grabbed a plastic bag, poured it in the plastic bag, gathered up the top, stuck a straw in it, and handed it to him. I guess they just burst out laughing, and I said, well, there's our bag of pop. So that's always been our story about Nate. His favorite thing was the bag of pop.
Nate was a wonderful guy to think about, a wonderful cousin, father. The most recent things I've been thinking about recently is when we were camping the last times. And just everyone hanging around the fires, splitting jokes, splitting cans, and
yeah, we just got back from the family camp out, so we were just thinking about him when he went, so that was a good memory that we had about him.
Rock on with him, so we're gonna live the night with him tonight.
Okay, so Amy and Jeff Keaton, and we've known Melissa and Nate probably for about 13 years now or so. And a favorite recent story that I would say about Nate is he really hated the use of the word literally. And so every opportunity that I had when we had a conversation, I would make sure to interject literally into it. Outside of that, some other really good memories. He makes a great brisket. He's definitely a foodie. I think one of my favorite things that I ever ate that he had made was an orange chicken. And so outside of that, just a lot of good conversations over the years. He wasn't much of a big talker, but when he did get going on a subject, he could go for a biz. So
that's true, like Clutch.
Yeah, Clutch. So yeah, outside of that, lots of love. Obviously, Melissa, one of my best friends, and to the rest of the family, yeah, he was a good dude. He'll be missed for sure.
First met Nate almost 30 years ago, hanging out with Rick in his parents' basement. For everybody that knows Nate, he was just one of the nicest guys. He always brightened the room and the mood. Didn't matter what was going on. He just was the light of the life of the party and the situation, and he's going to be missed.
So I'm Mary Everett, and Nate and Melissa were my neighbors. Nate was a great guy. Every time he was barbecuing, he said, "Mary, come on over and let's eat." And he was funny. He was silly. He was always the life of the party, I feel like. And he's very, very much missed. And my son would be here today because my son was good friends with him too, but he is not. And he just sends well wishes to everybody and still wishes Nate was here. He was a very good guy, and we all very much do miss him. And he's just a goofball. He's a big old goofball, and we all loved it. We all loved it. Yeah. So, yeah, it breaks my heart knowing what happened and knowing Zoe and Melissa are having to go through this, and that breaks my heart even more. But they are strong. They are very strong women, and I'm grateful that they are my friends, and we have a close relationship because of that. So, yeah, that's it. I mean, he was a good guy, very much missed.
I'm Jake, and this is my better half, Tiffany, and we've got so many memories with Nate. It's hard to even know where to start, but the one we were just kind of talking about is when Tiff was first had a chance to meet Nate, we all collectively got together on a bunch of bicycles and did a pub crawl and ended up going all over Boise, riding our bikes around, hitting some different bars and breweries and racing around, having some drinks and just having tons of laughs. And I think, didn't Nate get wasn't he losing his flip-flops or getting his shoes stuck in his spokes? I don't know. It just, every time you were with Nate, you couldn't help but smile and laugh. Yeah, it's always a good time. He was always, he didn't know a stranger. He loved everybody, and which is part of what makes it so hard to pick one single memory. Is Nate was just such an amazing guy and had such an impact on everybody. We'll definitely be taking it with us for the rest of our lives.
My name is Lisa. Met Nate right after high school. Was working with his then girlfriend at the Maids and met them and just became really good friends with Nate. Some good memories of just partying as very young and a lot of drinking, beer bongs and shotgunning beers, squirt gun fights up and downstairs in the apartment, slipping around, and just all around good vibes, good fun, good friends, and really, really, really good times. Yeah. Always good times.
During the same time frame, I'm Stacy. We knew each other since the 5th grade, so she brought me into the group of friends. And at that time, she had just started working at the Maid's place and started talking about this guy, Nate. And then I was pregnant at the time, and so I started hanging out once. And everybody in the whole group was just like, Yeah, cool, come on in.
You're part of us now.
Yeah, you're just in now, and it was the biggest blessing of my life that I have really a lot of fond memories looking back. And when I talk to my kids, I tell them stories about how I hung out with the coolest group of dudes, and they're just all buddies. And Nate was special. Nate was a really special man. And
goofy and just original. And
he didn't take it anything too seriously, and that was actually you couldn't photograph him without him flipping you off or sticking his tongue. He was just a goofball, but he was lovable. But he was like loving, like genuinely didn't judge anybody ever. He just loved everybody. He was like, yeah, that's cool. I mean, to each his own, whatever, man. He did it. He was just really cool. We used to go to Don Con, the Vietnamese restaurant on Broadway, and we would have the chai yao, Vietnamese egg rolls, we had spicy chicken, and it became a thing that when I moved away, moved out of town, whenever I could, which wasn't often, I would get back in touch with them, and we would go out and have that. And then Melissa, I mean, just everybody would, like the family would come when kids came along. Then it just became like, let's take our families out to dinner. Like we grew up, but we were just still friends. And I've lived out of state for a long time now, but like this group of friends is always.
They're there.
Yeah, but yeah.
They're awesome.
But like of the guys, it's like Nate was like the central, the pivotal dude, I guess. Everybody has like a pivotal dude in the group, and he was probably definitely it because he was just so lovable. And yeah, I've loved him since I was 18. I met that kid, and he's just been a very, very dear friend my whole entire life. We were at each other's weddings, and yeah, I don't really know what else to say, but I'm thankful for the years that I knew him. I'm thankful for the time I did get to have with him. I'm thankful for the beautiful women that he brought into this world and into his life, like
his mini me's. His mini me's.
Yeah, like he was blessed, and everybody who knows me knows I'm a Christian, and Nate and Rick Rick still could tell you this horror story of when I tried to drag him to church when we were they're like 21 or whatever. It was awful. But I always have prayed for Nate my whole moved away life. Pops into my head, I pray for him. I'm a weirdo that thinks apocalyptic stuff sometimes, and I've literally said, okay, if the rapture happens and I'm gone, give my Bible to Nate Smith. It's just been a whole long thing. And then at the end of his life, when I found out that his father led him to the Jesus of the Bible that I happen to believe in, I felt a peace for him and for his wife and his beautiful girls and the legacy that that's going to turn into in the future. I'm just blessed to have known him. I'm grateful that I had the time with him, and I don't really know what else to say, but
I have one more really good memory.
Heck yeah.
One year we went to Ozfest, and we were in Nate's van, and I don't remember exactly who was all there. I know I was. I know Rick was there. I think Robin, Jimmy, Nate, of course, driving most of the way, going 35 miles an hour up hills, and us getting fucked up in the back of the van the whole way there. And he had his little pop top, camped out. It was just a really, really good time. I just remember partying the whole way there, going really, really slow in his VW bus. And later learning that it burned down to the ground on the freeway.
That was so
totally
heartbreaking.
It was.
I think he cried.
I'm a VW girl, so I'm just like, oh. Yeah.
That was very
Anyway,
sad.
that was just another really good memory that we had going to
We could go
Ozfest.
forever, but I know you probably want to stop recording now.
We were blessed to know Nate. We were blessed to have him in our lives, and we're gonna miss him. And hearts and prayers of the family always.
My name is Shelley Vandenberg, and I am Grant Link's sister, drummer for Flight Avoid. And I met Nate when my brother started playing drums. I always loved Nate so much because he was the quiet one with his hat pulled down, and I always thought that he was, I don't know, not scared, but like super shy or something. And I was always amazed by his talent. I used to hassle Nate about looking at the crowd and stuff like that. I loved when he would get into it, though. When Nate would get into it, when I finally would see Nate get into the song or whatever, when Flight Avoid started, Nate kind of like was in the background and in the shadows, and he was way over in the corner. But I watched him progress as an artist, and he like came out and drew the crowd in. Like, it was amazing to me. And when Nate got into it, it was like everything had come full circle, and it was amazing to me because the crowd just went wild. When Nate got into it, it was like everybody knew it was time. Like, that's when just things just became wild. And it was awesome because anybody that was a Flight Avoid fan knew that when Nate started moving, it was time to get it on. I miss Nate so much. Sorry. It's been a long time, and I have so many good memories of him, and I'm glad that I got to share every moment that I did with the band. And it's unfortunate that I didn't get to share any further past that time, but Nate was a great guy, and he was so kind, and he was so funny, and I'm just forever grateful that we had him when we did.
Hi, my name's Astrid Farrell. This is Walt Farrell, and we are next door neighbors to Melissa's sister and her husband Greg. One of the biggest memories I have about Nate is him very, very passionate about TikTok and how the government was running that and it was stupid, and it just made me laugh because he was so passionate about it and we just thought it was silly. Another thing is that he loved good scotch and he smoked some good meat. Take that however you want.
Hi, I'm Gia Bowers, and this is Brett Bowers. We are also the neighbor to Christy, the sister-in-law. Things I loved about Nate, he loved his fireworks. We just had a celebration this past 4th of July. Loved his kids. A lot of fun. Great guy.
Hey, Uncle Nate. Sorry, man. Uncle Turd, you're the fucking shit, man. You know it. We know it. Love you. Appreciate everything you've done for my babies. Being an uncle to Carson. Man, love you, dude. Like I told you, I got your family. I got them. Zoe's taken care of. I love you guys. I appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for always being such a chill ass dude. Just being Nate, man. It's appreciated, and I love you.
Hey everybody, my name is Carl Swenson. This is my wife Samantha. I've been fortunate enough to be part of Nate's life for decades. I met him when I was 16, and he's one of the greatest friends I've ever had. You'll always be with me, Nate. I love you very much.
Love you, Nate.
Hi there, my name's Matt Vanderbo, and this is my lovely wife, Malika. I knew Nate way back in the day, early 2000s, mid-2000s. We played in the Boise music scene together, and we shared the stage a couple of times, but mostly I was an audience member, and I got to watch Nate. His band, hit the scene before mine did, so he had paved this, paved a way and showed us, like everyone else who came behind him, what was. Nate was living our dreams, and he was such a role model. He's just too young. He's too young to go. Anyways, thanks for everything, Nate. I'll miss you, man.
I am Gina Copeland.
And I'm Matthew Copeland.
And we've known Nate and Melissa for a very long time. I would say anything about Nate is we would plan any trip and we would always have to wait for him because he would be in the bathroom.
And we always had to do meal planning with him because he would always find something new and interesting to do.
Yes, because he's a great cook. What else? His smirk, his...
Always had an opinion about everything.
See, and I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Quiet. Quiet until he did have something to say.
Exactly.
And then he would say it.
But no, he was always good to be around, always fun, and yeah, it was always great to have both of them on any trip we went on.
He will be missed.
Definitely.
Hi, so my name is Brady Cannon, and this is my wife, Paula, and our son, Carl. And I've known Nate basically all my life. Grew up right across the street from him, and spent a lot of time together playing band. You know, we played trumpet together, both of us did, and all that stuff. Let's see, some of the memories I want to share. Well, one night, Nate and I thought it'd be a good idea to wrap a fishing line around a stuffed animal. And we threw it across Vista Avenue and pulled it across the street a couple times. And at one point, a police officer found us. And anyway, we ended up cleaning up the alley the next day for a while and some other stuff. But I'm pretty sure that was my idea. So, Nate, some things about Nate that we love. He was a really good guy, and just one of the things I just always appreciated about him was his common sense. Nate was always, he was a really smart guy. He'd look at things and just kind of tell you how it was. And I don't know how many times, we would be talking about something and Nate would say, "No, man, that's not right." And he would have a really good, clear, reason behind, what he thought, things should be. And definitely always, that's one of the things that I'll always remember about Nate. That, and he's, even though we didn't see him as often as we would like to, he was always fun, and it was never weird. So yeah,
never weird at all.
We're gonna miss Nate.
So my dad made spaghetti, and that was when I had never had it before, and I tried it, and it was my favorite food, and that's all I ever want to eat now. And you can talk.
Oh, wait.
Can you tell the campaign story, the pesto story? Okay. So grill story now. I was camping with my dad, and we had pesto. And we were sleeping in our tent, and he heard a gagging noise. He woke up to a gagging noise, and I threw up all over him.
In a tent. Yeah, you should.
should. You should do it.
Oh gosh. An even embarrassing story.
It's not that embarrassing. Come on.
Say it then.
Okay, so Zoe used to all the time get in Dad's face and fart right in his face. Like put her butt right in his face and fart in his face. And hey, it was warranted because he would kind of do the same thing, except he'd do a cup of beef, fart in his hand, like this, and then put it in your face. Do you remember that? Yeah.
What's another story?
What's another story?
Can you girls share a story about your dad?
Okay, I've had one that I have been thinking about. I used to go, this was before you were born, I used to go with Dad in his bus, and I don't know why I keep remembering this, but he brought SpaghettiOs, and plain SpaghettiOs were not okay. Like they weren't, like, we couldn't do plain SpaghettiOs. We had to do something better. And so we had these little, like, tiny, like, spice cans that were all, like, stacked together. And so we got to, like, each season our own SpaghettiOs, and we just hung out and camped in the bus and made seasoned SpaghettiOs. That sounds super good. Yeah, it was pretty good. Best SpaghettiOs I've ever had.
Let's see. I'll probably have to do the first time I met our dad, which is a weird sentence to say, and I recognize that. But I got a letter that my biological dad wanted to meet me, which was the weirdest thing ever to come home to. And we went and met at a coffee shop. And I knew who he was right away because I saw his eyes and his eyebrows, and I was like, oh my God, those are my eyebrows. And we sat there for like 5 hours talking about a lot of stuff. The best part was I got to see a bunch of pictures of Kayla and Zoe. And now Kayla and Zoe are here, and I'm sorry. We talked a lot about the music that we liked. We liked a lot of the same stuff. We talked about Deftones. We talked about Deftones a lot. And that's what we continued talking about for the next 10 years. Yeah, that's what I'll say. That was the best memory. He gave me the best gift I've ever had. Now I have Kayla and Zoe and Melissa and our grandparents, our aunts and uncles, and Aunt Christy, and Aunt Val, and Aunt Jen, and all the cousins.
My besties.
And I never would have met Zoe's besties. So, yeah.
Okay, I am Valerie Roberts. I am Nate's favorite sister-in-law.
No, she's not.
It's true. My favorite story of Nate is when we were at church one day. I know. I'm just kidding. We really didn't.
I was like,
this
what
is all
the
for you.
fuck? You just made that up. I was like, when did he go to church?
He didn't.
Okay, my favorite story of Nate is when he saved my life. I went and did shrooms and had a super bad trip. And I went to his house, and he turned on The Wizard of Oz and Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. And when the lion roars, you hit play, and it just consumed me, and it saved my life. It did.
He knew how to calm you down.
Yes, he did. Nate was the best. Then on New Year's Eve, I got in a fight with my husband and went to my sister's house, and then Nate followed me home. Sat on the counter with me, and we had some whiskey, and he said he loved my sister, which he doesn't say very often.
He never said that.
And then he gave me advice. So I fucking miss him.
He cracked my crab legs one time.
And he choked me on the way out. When he died, he choked me.
Don't say that.
He did.
Not physically.
He did, though.
He never physically choked you.
He did, though.
Welcome to Christy.
Hi, I'm Casey. I am actually Nate's
third cousin. This is Peyton, Bo, and my husband Wes. My memories of Nate, oh man. So when I was little, I was Flight of Void's biggest fan. I got to go to most of the concerts, and I made portraits of them, and I just have the best memories coming to Boise with my grandparents and spending time with them. And then they actually got to meet him a couple years ago playing Frisbee golf, so.
I'm Doug Morgan.
Carmen Morgan.
I haven't seen Nate for a while, and I regret that, but when I did Flight of Void days, him and Melissa were some of the kindest, most awesome people I'd ever known. Very inviting. Nate was always giving hugs, always friendly, always welcoming into the studio, into his home. Taught me how to throw a disc golf frisbee, better than I had ever up to that point. So he's definitely a personality that will be sorely missed, and you can tell by the crowd that is here gathered to respect his memory. So Melissa, I love you and your family, and nothing but the best for you guys going forward.
I didn't get the pleasure of getting to meet Nate personally, but I've heard a lot of people say amazing things about him. He sounds like a wonderful human being. And it's clear today that he left a mark on a lot of people. So he's very loved and he's missed.
Yeah, absolutely. Love you.